Welcome to The Explainer. So whether this is your very first job or you've been working for years, the truth is, every workplace has hidden dangers. Today, we're going to break down the absolute essentials of workplace safety and turn all those complicated rules into a simple toolkit you can use to stay safe and feel empowered at work.
So I want you to take just a second and really think about where you work. Is it an office, maybe a construction site, a kitchen? It doesn't matter how safe you think it is. Every single job has hazards. And just knowing how to spot them, well, that's your first move in protecting yourself.
It's kind of wild how many dangers can be hiding in plain sight, right? In a restaurant, yeah, you think about knives, but what about the spattering hot oil from a deep fryer, or just a simple wet spot on the floor? And in an office, a messy computer cord suddenly becomes a major trip hazard, and sitting there typing for hours on end can lead to some really serious repetitive strain injuries.
And look, this is not a small problem. This number right here, 250,000, that's how many people get hurt or sick from their job every single year, just in Ontario. That is a staggering number. To put that in perspective, that's enough people to fill a dozen NHL hockey arenas every single year. This is exactly why this stuff is so important, especially for new workers, who we know are the most at risk. Okay, let's really dive into this. To get a handle on safety, you've got to speak the language. And the two most important words you need to know are hazard and risk. Now, they might sound kind of the same, but trust me, understanding the difference is your first and maybe your most important line of defense.
So, a hazard is basically anything that could hurt you. It's the source of the danger. It could be a chemical, it could be a wet floor, it could be a tool. The easiest way to think about it is this. A shark in the ocean is a hazard. It absolutely has the potential to cause harm.
Risk, on the other hand, is all about the odds. It's the chance that the hazard will actually hurt you. So the hazard is the shark, but the risk is how likely it is to bite you. I mean, are you swimming around in a reinforced shark cage, or are you just splashing around 10 feet away from it in the open water? The situation completely changes the risk.
And this example just nails the difference perfectly. The hazard, drowning at sea, it's the same whether you're on a ship or on a plane. But the risk, the actual chance of that happening to you is way, way higher on the ship. See? When you understand that, you can start to manage the situation and make it safer.
All right, so now that we've got the lingo down, let's see what these hazards actually look like out in the wild. We can pretty much group them into a few key categories. Think of this as your quick start guide to spotting danger before it's a problem.
First up, physical hazards. These are probably the ones that jump to mind right away. We're talking about anything that can physically hurt your body. A wet floor that causes a fall, crazy heat in a warehouse, the constant roar of machinery, or even just really bad air quality from mold or poor ventilation. Next, you've got your chemical and biological hazards. This is any substance that can make you sick, either instantly or over a long period of time. It could be anything from an unlabeled spray bottle of cleaning chemicals to bacteria or viruses in a hospital to breathing in fine dust from sanding wood. This stuff gets into your body by breathing it in, touching it, or swallowing it. And then there are the hazards that are a little less obvious, but they are just as serious. Ergonomic hazards are things that damage your body's muscles and skeleton over time. Think doing the same motion over and over and over, or working at a desk that's just not set up right for you. And psychosocial hazards? They affect your mental health. Things like bullying, harassment, or just crushing levels of stress at work. The really terrifying thing about some hazards is that they're silent. Take asbestos. It was a super common building material for years. You could breathe in those fibers today and not develop a life-threatening lung disease for another 20 or even 30 years. This is exactly why being aware and taking precautions from day one of your career is completely non-negotiable. So here's the most important thing to take away from all this. You are not powerless. The law, specifically the Occupational Health and Safety Act, which is basically the rule book for safety in almost every workplace, it gives every single one of us powerful rights to protect ourselves. And these aren't just suggestions, they are legally guaranteed tools. And it all comes down to one number, 3. I want you to burn this number into your brain, because these 3 fundamental rights are the absolute core of your power when it comes to staying safe at work. Let's break them down. Think of it as your safety mantra. Know, participate, refuse. First, you have the right to know. Your employer has to tell you about any potential dangers on your job, no exceptions. Second, the right to participate. You have a right to be part of the safety conversation, to ask questions, to voice concerns. And third, and this is the one that could literally save your life, you have the right to refuse work that you believe is unsafe for you or anyone else, and you can do it without being punished or fired.
Look, knowing your rights is great, but that knowledge is only powerful if you actually use it. So let's talk about how to turn all this information into action. What do you do every single day to actively protect yourself on the job? One of the most direct ways is with personal protective equipment, or PPE. If a job requires a hard hat or safety glasses or steel-toed boots, it is 100% your employer's job to give it to you, and it's your job to use it every single time. That gear is often the last physical barrier between you and a really serious injury. Okay, let's play out a real-world scenario. Picture this. It's your second week on a new job. Your supervisor comes over and asks you to use a forklift to move some heavy boxes. You want to be helpful, right? You want to make a good impression, but you've never, ever been trained on how to use one. You know it's dangerous. So what do? The answer is crystal clear, and it's backed up by the law. You refuse. You politely but firmly say that you are not trained to operate that equipment and that it would be unsafe. You know, the real question isn't just what you would do in that moment. It's having the courage to actually do it when it happens. Because your safety, and maybe the safety of the people working right next to you, could depend on it.